Hello everybody, this is Milesluigi. Welcome you back to Let's Play Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time. Joining me today is...
Yeah, the Evil Pop-Tart, and I'm also here with...
Higsby.
And Wayoshi.
And Wayoshi has joined us. So last time we learned what beans are used for in this game, so this time we're going to start off with some backtracking extravaganza, super ultra awesome monster truck awesomeness!
You mean they're not used for coffee?
No, they're not.
No
Coffee.
They are not used for coffee in this game, surprisingly. They are used exclusively for Fawful, because Fawful wants all the beans. Anyway, the shop intrigued me because if you looked at the map, like the shop icon is flickering, is like, oh hey, there's things at the shop, and I'm like, wait, didn't I look at the shop entirely? What am I missing? But I want to say that icon doesn't like dance if you have the shop cleared out, or there's nothing new.
You didn't get any new bro items. There were two new ones.
I should double check bro items then. Maybe that's why it's like, pay attention to me. See, look, the shop is like the only big motion on the top screen other than all the warp pipes right now in the safe spot. It's like, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. But yeah, we got to go back and get Fawful some more beans. So let's go ahead and start off in the Holly Jolly Village. Go back here. I did want to make a correction that I said last video, just in passing. So Fawful sells a whole bunch of badges. Evidently, if you want to buy multiple copies of a badge, you can actually do that. So
yeah, I
anyway,
thought I remember getting 2 ulti-freeze once.
So that very extremely fast forward through.
That wasn't very monster back. Monster truck.
There was nothing in Holly Jolly Village.
Really?
I went
So
back
it's
there.
just an empty shell of a place.
There's no reason to, like, that's weird.
There's never a reason to go back there. There's never a reason to go back there unless you want to listen to the Mario Brothers theme, because this game has a pretty good Mario Brothers theme. That's it. Oh yeah, and I guess the tutorial monsters that do like 1 damage to you as well. You can fight them if you want to.
So how come when you came out of the warp hole, they came out separate? The older brothers and the younger ones?
Oh gosh, my fast forward totally masked why that was the case. If you enter a warp hole with only 1 set of brothers, those 2 brothers will enter the warp pipe and it'll play the animation for those 2 brothers, and then the other 2 brothers will get spit out. So for example, if I entered that warp with just the adult Mario and Luigi, then they'll come out of the warp pipe, but then the babies get spit out after them, just like what you saw.
Okay. That was my next question. What happens if you only go in with 1 pair? So, cool.
The other pair gets spit out. They're inherently chained together. You can't separate them. But Bowser's Castle has plenty of beans for us to get back, actually. There was just a lot of beans that were hidden in this area for us to get that we couldn't get at the time because we were just learning how to control all 4 brothers at the same time.
So obvious.
Even backtracking, even though I'm not getting a lot of experience, I'm getting level ups. So let's pour and just level up. Bah humbug. Okay, that was better. That was quite a bit better. But I guess relatively speaking, the backtracking in Mario and Luigi Partners of Time, you're pretty much looking at it, it's getting beans in previous areas, and I guess relatively speaking to most RPG standards, it isn't as engaging, and I guess that's because there's not too many towns. We're going to go back to Yoshi's Village, but it's my understanding the Yoshis in the village don't even say different things throughout different parts of the game, or if they do, it's not interesting per se. As compared to another RPG where you can go back to the town and, oh hey, look, there's some backtracking you can do, there's some additional things you can take care of, there's some additional equipment you can get. That doesn't happen in this game, nor does that really tend to happen a lot in Mario and Luigi games in general, unfortunately.
Heck, Mario and Luigi 1 only had, like, what, 2 or 3 towns?
Yeah, you had the mountain village, you had the castle village, and then...
Mushroom.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it.
Little Fungi Town, and that was pretty much it, so... This game, you have Peach's Castle, then we have Yoshi's Island, and I'm now trying to think of the third.
Still, there's more mini games and little challenges in the other games than this one.
Fair point. But anyway, we clean sweep through an entire Bowser's Castle, so we just have a couple more areas to head off to. Oh, hello, Toad. I wonder what you have to... Never mind. Never mind.
What if he gave you a star?
Yeah, it's just a tutorial.
Mario jumps with the A button. Luigi jumps with the B button. Something like that. What is this A and B button that you speak of? Well, the being in another dimension will understand. But anyway, the next place we're going to backtrack actually isn't going to be the Vim Forest. We're actually going to backtrack to Yoshi's Island first. But ooh, like a mushroom that I missed. There's a lot of little hidden things in this castle that I've swept through this castle already and I've missed, like that mushroom.
I did definitely enjoy looking around the castle when I played. I mean, it's pretty much the most non-linear thing in the game.
It's expansive and it goes all over the place, and there's spots to use some abilities and spots to use abilities we haven't gotten yet, so that's pretty cool. I guess the only caveat, in order to get back to Yoshi's Island, we got to go through this all over again. There really isn't a shorter way there.
What's with that arrow on the floor?
I think that arrow on the floor is literally telling you spin jump this way.
It's very reminiscent of the X, and I remember always thinking about that as a kid. Like, what am I supposed to do with that?
You must drill into this. It has a secret in it. Anyway, I did enter this warp with only Mario and Luigi, so we're going to see exactly what we were describing earlier. So we're going to Yoshi's Island. The adult bros get spat out. And then the babies just get spat out afterwards. So no, you cannot separate them in space-time at all. Nice thinking there. I already know what you're thinking, Evil Pop-Tart. Send the babies back to Yoshi's Island?
Yes, yes. I was just about to say that, and you said that. You stole the words out of my mouth.
They'd be getting taken good care of here. If there's one thing I've learned about Mario games is that Yoshis are good babysitters. On one hand, you go on big, gigantic adventures and the baby will cry a lot. On the other hand, they're good babysitters.
I don't know if they can handle baby Princess Peach, though.
You don't think so?
No. Toadsworth can barely handle her. How is a Yoshi supposed to handle her?
Fair
He
point.
does
Anyway.
somehow in Yoshi's Island, I guess.
The only bean that I missed was the one that you actually pointed out, Higsby. So I've made it all the way to the top of Yoshi's Island again. Guess who's still just cleaning up to the top of this entire island? Just cleaning there. And if we want to,
Really?
we can go back inside.
It just is a text thing? That's lazy.
The only reason you would ever go back inside of Yube is to collect things that you missed, such as beans or anything like that, or get mystery random level up like what I just did. So hooray! To be fair, this was just the last area, so I'm still getting somewhat decent experience from it. But otherwise, if you already got the beans in Yube, there's literally no reason to ever go back here. So we'll just go out the hole.
Well, that was a really lazy way to get back in.
What did you think the way to get back in was?
Well, it didn't show an animation of being eaten again. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That felt like tacked on at the last minute. Oh, we have to make everything.
It's just stuff while saying, ew, do you want to go back inside? And then you select yes, and then you're just inside.
I must never, I remember I never did that before.
Just before there isn't any
There's
point
no
to go
point.
back inside.
I probably got all the beans. I know.
And the thing is, you have to climb all the way up Yoshi's Island to do it in the first place, so it's a bit out of the way to even do it. Anyway, last area that we haven't gone back to yet is the Vim Forest, which actually, surprisingly, I've missed a fair number of beans in, because you don't get the ability to get beans for until you're in the factory. So, there's a fair bit of them in the forest.
Makes sense.
Here we go.
Are you gonna have 90 beans at the end of this? I'm trying to remember where you were at the end of the last part.
I'll show how many beans I have after I'm done with all this backtracking.
You break the game already.
Fair point. So, as I mentioned, a lot of Fawful's badges are very powerful, to say the least. I'm curious how you're thinking about me breaking the game. I'm after that util-free badge.
Just use programs basically at 0 BP the whole time. Or at least for half the time.
Well, for one bro. Unless
you get two.
Unless you get two. As we mentioned, you can grind for them. Surprisingly, I missed some beans in the factory. I don't know how I missed beans in the factory, seeing as I had the ability to get them. I just simply didn't see them. Camouflaged.
So far, though, you definitely haven't had any issue using Bros items. It just kind of throws like thousands of them at you every time you hit a question mark block. So I don't remember if that becomes much of an issue.
Then, well,
later
then
on
you
in the
can
game.
sell the extra ones for equipment.
Yeah, you can even sell the extra ones for equipment if you want to. The game gives you plentiful bro items, so you're never really in a situation where you're running low on them. And even if you do kind of run low on them, they're relatively inexpensive to get. So, like if you're really, really running desperate for them, just grab a couple of cannonballers, because those are usually good for bosses even later in the game. Though we will be getting better bro items than cannonballers for single enemies.
And let's see.
Anyway, let's go ahead and check it out. I have a total of 68 beans right now.
Pretty good.
As for if that's the actual maximum I can have right now, I'm not entirely certain.
Good enough.
I'll be completely honest. But that's pretty much it, actually, for our backtracking. I can't recall any other reason to backtrack in this game, actually. This game like has a very engaging, fun story all the way throughout, but it's kind of once you beat it, there's very little to go back to. And I may make an analogy here. It's like you have a very rigid structure, but nothing in between. So it's like you can climb the ladder, but after you climb the ladder, there's nothing else to do. Speaking of climbing structures, I don't know why I used a climbing reference since we're about to do this section of the game. So there's a block at the bottom of this big gigantic tower, and there's a gate at the top that only opens if we hit that block. Problem is, it's really hard to get up to the top because you're on a timer. It's very convenient that we just got the ability that lets us move faster, isn't it?
Transform into the Google Chrome logo.
No.
Go! Watch this in
Shame.
60 frames per second.
And this must hurt going up the stairs like this, but I guess not.
Blump, 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 blump. Of really curious note, when I was just doing some of my research for this game and this part specifically, evidently it's possible with like very frame-specific inputs to actually get past this without the rolling ability and therefore sequence break the game. Unfortunately, there hasn't been too much work by two assistant speedrun people on this game, so even though it is possible to sequence break this game, I just have a feeling bad things would really start happening just because this game's pretty well encoded to do the game in a specific order, so...
But even if you did things like pixel perfect, I don't understand how that would help you get up the stairs at that speed.
Like, how close was it?
It's within the last second. I'll have to link it in the video description. But let's go ahead and get on to a new area. It's the Gritzy Desert. You might recognize that name. There we go. Welcome to the desert.
So why would we recognize the Gritzy Desert?
Well, you see, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time came out in 2005. There was another game that came out in 2006 called Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And one of the themes in Super Smash Bros. Brawl was actually Gritzy Desert.
Okay. I was trying to think if the desert itself actually came, it was actually in another game, it wasn't ringing any bells, so okay.
I was gonna say it was the desert from Mario, Paper Mario, the original Paper Mario.
Well,
That's a decent guess.
Dry Desert.
That's Dry Desert, though. This desert is kind of more towards the west side of Toad Town, according to the map, rather than the east side of Toad Town. So yeah. I'll get to this in a little bit, but anyway, we're at a big, gigantic desert, and there's this big, gigantic structure in front of us, so why don't we go ahead and enter the front door after I'm done exploring this area. Sadly, there's not a whole lot to this area, but yeah, totally. Let's just enter the front door of Big Golden Building.
Wow, mamma mia!
You can't go to the dungeon yet.
Bring on the shroobs, eh? Lots of shroobs have been brought on. So I know we were kind of bashing against this game's linearity at some points, though on the bright side, for the core story of this game, holy cow.
And Mario still hasn't been noticed, okay?
From Yoshi's Island to Gritzy Desert, and yeah. I feel bad talking over this, so maybe I should just let you react, Evil Pop-Tart.
I can't believe I'm reading this. I'm trying to contain the excitement.
She's gonna report on me take over the entire Mushroom Kingdom, being like, Mushroom Kingdom taken over by aliens.
I like the fact that they're taking pictures with them being chased in the background. What the hell?
Comedy.
It's like a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Like, quite literally like a Scooby-Doo cartoon. Look at that. Now you just have to imagine Scooby, or Luigi like Scooby, and I don't know what you make the babies, actually. 2 Scrappy-Doos? Or did Scrappy-Doo ever have a brother or sister? Or was there ever another dog?
I don't think so.
So, no way we're getting into the front door of a very heavily fortified Shroob Fortress. We gotta make it into the side entrance.
And 4 statues, I wonder what they could be.
So Gritzy Desert is big. It's very, very big. Like, you may not be able to just tell from the map, because the map just kind of shows this one area that we're in, but Gritzy Desert has just a lot of area to walk around. And inherently, because I don't want to miss any beans, this means throughout this video and this entire video set, part 8, you're going to see me, like, walk around like a lawnmower throughout the entire areas, just back and forth, making sure I don't miss any beans.
Making sure the grass is going to be nice and cut while you pick up your beans.
Exactly. If you could just imagine me raking the entire desert, that's essentially what I'm doing.
Why don't you just find a metal detector? Works better.
For beans.
I'm sure there's some bean detector somewhere in this game. Come on! Might as well be. Screw trying to find them on your own.
Well, they're marked by X's. They're very clearly marked. The only thing is you actually have to see them on screen. That's my point being, since this area is huge, it's kind of hard to find them on screen.
There should be
too much work. Too much work. Just give me a bean detector, please. Thank you.
There should be something like I Spy from Paper Mario, where it goes ding if there's a bean anywhere in the area that you're in.
Yes, there you go. Perfect.
I agree with that idea, 100%. I think there was something similar to that, not entirely in Mario & Luigi Dream Team. After a certain point in the game, it would actually show you this area has this many beans and this area had this many beans. So you knew if you were missing some beans in some area. But as for this game, there really isn't anything like that. So on one hand, we'll be able to grind for beans at one point. On the other hand, we could be missing a bean in an area entirely and we wouldn't know anything about it. But anyway, let me go back to a point I actually wanted to go back to earlier. I mentioned, oh hey, this entire desert is kind of to the west of Mushroom Kingdom, whereas Dry Desert was kind of to the east of Mushroom Kingdom, which leads me to a theory that the Mushroom Kingdom is similar to Minecraft in terms of its biomes. Like, one biome is just 1 mile wide, and then, oh hey, and the next mile over it's desert, the next mile over it's polar ice caps, the next mile over, it makes a lot of sense. Have you ever seen the map to New Super Mario Bros. U? It transitions very rapidly between desert and snowland.
Both games do, so yeah.
So, conclusion, biomes in the Mushroom Kingdom are a lot like Minecraft biomes. They're not that big, and they transition very quickly. So if you hate living in the desert, like literally just walk 1 mile in one direction and you're bound to find something. Ooh, I didn't mean to enter in this battle with the babies by themselves. Not right away. So, I suppose I haven't even talked too much about the enemies in this area yet, so I'll be showing off some more of their moves. But, respectively speaking, what we've seen so far have been Pokies. You know what they are. They're a good classical enemy in Mario. Hooray! They're spiky. Though surprisingly, these Pokies we can actually jump on top of. And then there's these enemies, which are Shroob Divers. Essentially, shark in the sand shrooms. Because that's essentially what they attack like. They attack like sharks, or sometimes they'll throw stuff at you like that. Or swim at you like that. He's just swam through all that, like, clay that Luigi was standing on.